And the thing is, what they'll say, and here's the argument. I'll pose the argument that I hear all the time.
Okay.
Outside of it's going to lead into bestiality and all that, which I think is first off is an argument against marriage itself.
Yeah.
But
that's a good one, actually. That marriage leads to same-sex marriage leads to bestiality.
I do like that. That's nice.
Which I hate that one. I think it's a dumb argument. But here's the one they always say. They say, well, it's government's laws are helped us to regulate our morality, and I think that is the dumbest thing because our government is not out to enforce any kind of morality.
Indeed.
And I've said this before. Morality does not equal legality. Legality does not equal morality. And the idea would be, if I had starving children, and I stole a bunch of food and took to feed my family, legally the person would be right. It did hurt him, but he'd be right to prosecute me and send me to jail. Legally, he could do that. Morally, I think most people would agree. He didn't need it. He should give it to the family.
Absolutely,
yeah, I agree.
And I do want to thank you for understanding the difference between a secular and a sectarian government. And I'm very glad to have these kind of debates when we have that understanding. And thank you for that. And I hope to talk to you again, but we're going to have to move on.
Oh, absolutely. And also tell your Christian friends about that too. Keep having that argument with other Christians.
Yeah.
Because it can't just be us. All right, thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. It's really nice. It really changes the tenor of the debate when we have that understanding that we live in that our government is a secular government.
That it's that it isn't simply the government isn't a club for Christianity to hit people with.
And that legislation is not an extension of morality.
Exactly.
Is really once we have that, these debates become something a little less than existential and become kind of fun.
It's realizing we live in a pluralistic society and that this has to be a society that fits everyone. It isn't just fit for often a very narrow view of Christianity, and they want to sort of enforce this on anybody.
Right.
And it's not what the role of government is.
Yeah, the marriage issue, the gay marriage issue is not an atheist one. It has very little to do with, I mean, we're mostly for it, but and
I guess
it raises questions about religion, but this is an issue that transcends that.
Yeah, I guess that's true, but I guess I would say it does become an issue for atheists because I think it's an excellent illustration of an issue that's very clearly religiously based. I've never had a discussion with somebody who was opposed to same-sex marriage, who, when you dug deep enough, religion wasn't at the core of it. I'm sure there's somebody who is an atheist that has a secular view on it, but I've never seen it.
I would love to hear that. If there is an atheist out there who's against gay marriage, I'd love to hear the basis of your argument. But like on the Seattle Atheist mailing list, there was someone recently who is apparently an atheist and against the concept of abortion. And it was the first time I had heard someone, an avowed atheist, have a secular reason for being against abortion. Now, some of the logic behind it was questionable.
It was like William Jennings Bryan logic, the idea that this immediately leads to eugenics, which I think is huge.
And then he went on to quote WorldNet Daily, which for me raises a huge flag.
WorldNet Daily has about the journalistic integrity of like Highlights for Children or High Times.
No, come on, Highlights is a good magazine. I still read it.
WorldNet Daily is basically like I mean, if you were to give the internet an enema, the WorldNet Daily is where you'd shove the pipe. I mean, it's bad.
Well put. Well put. Getting back to our announcements. If you thought that was funny, if you thought that was worthy of an award, Scan Studios has a Scan Award every year, and as we started the show this year, we're eligible for an award, and we're eligible in multiple categories: local show,
live studio show, new show,
and my favorite, and I would love to get this one,
please.
Best religious program on Scan. There are a number of religious programs, and it is one of the largest categories available for the Scan Awards.
It's like 2 pages.
It's contentious, and we would love to get that award.
I would love to beat out the Nation of Islam show where the guy screams at the camera. I would love to beat out that dude with the spiritual warfare book who kind of looks like Tony Blair.
Yeah.
I would love to win this award because I would love just to see jaws drop
we walk
up.
And to quote Libby, the serious irony of Vuvuzela time. I mean, serious. I'll make one up just for that. It would be amazing. So go to scantv.org. There's a link there. If you're on there, if you're Facebook friends with them, they do have a fan page. They mention it pretty often. Please vote. I believe voting is open to everyone because Scan does consider themselves to be wide network. It's specifically focused on Seattle, but they understand they stream on the internet. A lot of their viewership comes from the internet.
Yeah.
So
they openly asked us, hey, promote it on your Facebook page. They said MySpace.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody has to still be on there. It's like Friendster.
Everyone I know who's on MySpace is trying to leave MySpace.
Yeah.
So
it's like a third world country.
Oh man, that was like that map on XKCD. Anyway.
Ba-dum-dum.
Yeah. So we do have some news, do we not?
We do. Actually, this first one comes from MSNBC. You're about to witness a really, really unimpressive miracle. Something sort of happens when you build something that's shaped like a cross and vines grow around it and it's still shaped like a cross. That is magic. So if we can put up this video from MSNBC, you can see this for yourself and wow.
How is this utility pole in Hathaway different from this one? Well, Ricky Navarre says it shows the image of Jesus Christ.
That's a group of vines, man. Yeah, that was brought there by him.
Ricky Navarre says he noticed what he considers to be an amazing occurrence while he was on his way to buy a boat.
About half a mile down the road, just caught my eye. I said to myself, man, that sure looks like image of Jesus hanging from that telephone post.
Navarre believes this is more than just a coincidence, and somewhere in these vines is a message from God. He says with the 8 Jeff Davis murders and some of the sickness in the world, it could be a sign of comfort.
He just might be telling us something. Look, I'm looking over you. I'm going to answer your prayers.
Now, Mr. Navarre says the image of Christ hanging from the telephone pole is best seen when you drive by slowly without stopping. So let's give it a shot. Well, did you see it? Let's look again, but this time slower. Is this just an ordinary telephone pole covered in vines, or could it be a miraculous sign from heaven? It looks like you'll have to make the call on that one.
Yeah.
Jesus is in a cocoon. Jesus is in a cocoon. He's a pod person. Run!
My initial thought was that they'd crucified Swamp Thing, but it's a bar that low for miracles. I mean, when you look at the Bible and we're talking about sticks into snakes, we're talking about fire from the sky.
Yeah.
We're talking about people raised from the dead, curing lepers. It's like, yep, vines and a cross-shaped thing look like a cross.
It's a wad of vines growing in what looks like a southern state. Vines are not rare in the southern states. It's not like these vines suddenly appeared and
it's coming up through a tree.
Created a Jesus wad.
Especially when this telephone pole is going up through a tree that's covered in vines.
Yeah.
I think some of the stupidity of this comes from the fact that the Christian symbol is so easy and so, it's basically 2 pieces of wood at a 90-degree angle, and that is everywhere. If you basically had like the Star of David, that would be something. It wouldn't be a miracle. It would be rare, but
it'd be geometrically more difficult.
It would be so much less likely than boop. That is everywhere. That's the same crap we saw in
witness the girder
in 9/11. Yeah, that after 9/11 they saw 2 girders. Oh wow, 2 straight lines fell at a 90-degree angle.
Yeah, intersections never happen.
That'll never happen. Oh,
that's kind of a fun one though.
It is fun. Part of me is just so sad that on one level people really do want to believe anything, but when the bar is so low, seriously, watch Carl Sagan's Cosmos. You'll see something mind-blowing in that.
Absolutely.
That is real beauty and just real sense of reverence and awe. If you want to get it out of somebody like me, you're not going to get it with vines and 2 sticks.
No, the universe is way too big to.
It's so much better than that.
Yeah.
It's like serious.
Jesus is a pod person. It looks like this. It looks like Swamp Thing or something from Attack of the Pod People. Like he's going to pop out and form a 5th column in an allegory story about communism or something like that.
Oh, is this like an episode of The Outer Limits?
It's an episode of The Outer Limits, a story by Robert Heinlein, what have you.
Plant Jesus.
Plant Jesus. All right.
All right.
Well, yeah. Let's move on from that.
Again. I think it's, now that we're kind of getting into our topic, remember at any given time, don't Oh, actually, no, we have some more news stories. But seriously, get the phone number up on the screen.
It is up on the screen.
Oh, it is. Yes. Boop. Yeah, please give us phone calls. We want to hear from you. We want to hear you challenge us. We want to hear you question us. If you're genuinely curious and you've never had a chance to meet an atheist before, except maybe saw one in a chick tract or maybe at a traveling sideshow, this is your chance to ask.
I do try to occasionally look like the guy in Big Daddy, but it's not really working out for me. It's just the wrong color hair. But so we do have a little bit more news.
Let's hit some
And this
news.
is sort of reference to a story we had earlier. This is again. Oh, where is this from? It is from CBS News. So Ann Coulter, Obama is not a Muslim. Nearly 1 in 5 Americans think President Obama is a Muslim, according to a recent poll. But conservative commentator Ann Coulter says instead that he is an atheist. The nonsense about President Obama being a Muslim has got to stop, Coulter wrote on the conservative website townhall.com. I rise to defend him from this absurd accusation by pointing out that he is obviously an atheist. She just can't let it go to say that's an absurd accusation.
Well, she says it like it's a bad thing.
Yeah, ooh, atheist, ooh, run.
Just to quote Seinfeld really quick, not that there's anything wrong with it.
No, obviously we think it's okay, but
Certainly, I take issue with the fact that I disagree with some atheists on this. I think that Ann Coulter, and I think there's even some atheists that do this at the same time, which is I think that we naturally look to someone that say we like or we dislike, and we want people that we like to be more like us. So we like to pretend, or we like to believe that if you're an atheist, oh, this person that I like is an atheist. And if you're a Christian and that person is a Christian, you don't want to believe they're like you in any way. It makes it easier to sort of dehumanize and hate them. And I think what Ann Coulter may be doing, because I doubt there's anything she does that's actually sincere.
Absolutely.
I think everything she does is cynical and pretty much an act.
I think I know where you're going with this.
I think that she's trying to back away because the Muslim thing is backfiring right now for conservatives who are trying to call him a Muslim, because it backfires back, and it's still pretty politically safe to blast atheists. Not as much with Muslims. Also, we're less likely to put a bomb under your car.
Yeah, we are very politically safe to attack.
Yeah, it's not like if somebody attacks, I guarantee you when the Muslim news story came out, liberal news blogs all over the place blasted it. How can people be so stupid? How they're so horrible? When somebody like Michelle Malkin or Ann Coulter says it, all over. Oh, there's nothing wrong with it. When somebody says, oh, he's an atheist, it's like, it's
no one cares.
Nobody. I mean, atheists come to say something about it, but I mean, it really doesn't.
On our cable access shows.
On our cable access network. Vote for us on the SCAN Awards at www.scantv.org.
Ding.
So
I do think that on some level this is sort of a reach for relevancy by Ann Coulter. I mean, I don't want to get too political, but sometimes I'm obviously Sarah Palin is the new hotness, and as we were saying before, Ann Coulter's kind of very 2004.
Yeah.
And since atheists,
she's like the Macarena of politics.
Yeah. And so she's reaching out for some sort of relevancy, and it's like, God, what are the safest people I can attack?
Yeah, because I mean, be honest. I mean, really, what she is she's like that kid in junior high who ate worms to get attention.
Yeah.
She basically says things that are intentionally provocative, and really don't have a lot of substance behind it.
I'll say something provocative. I think she's as religious as I am.
Yeah,
straight up. I
don't know what she believes. I think she basically believes in getting attention.
Pretty much. So maybe we ought to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, this is probably the most news coverage she's gotten in a while. She really wants it.
Yeah.
That and I'd like to go back to forgetting that she existed.
I think we can do that.
All right.
And I think we have the best way to wash that particular story down right now.
Oh yeah.
So But you've got a doozy.
Oh, yes.
You got a doozy.
Speaking
there.
of a different caliber of person, Stephen Hawking recently is writing a new book about the Big Bang, called The Grand Design, the name of his new book, and it was actually part serialized in the Times, where he said there was no need for God to, you don't need to invoke God to explain the creation of the universe. There is no place for God in theories on the creation of the universe, Professor Stephen Hawking says. He had previously argued that belief in a creator was not incompatible with science, but in a new book he basically says the opposite, that it's just not necessary. Says Britain's most famous physicist sets out to contest Sir Isaac Newton's belief that the universe must have been contested, as it could not have sprung out of chaos.